Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today in the hot shop we're going to be making an Amphora vase, and we're going to be using a color technique called Wig Wag. This is one of our longer process videos, so grab a drink, grab a snack, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's go ahead and head to the studio and get started. So to start off with, we have some preheated canes that I have on a small ceramic plate inside of this oven. We call this one the garage. It preheats the canes, or whatever we decide to put in it, to close to about 1,000 degrees, and then I can move it over to our reheating furnace, which is closer to about 2,000. The term cane refers to the small links of colored glass that I have laying together in a rectangle on this ceramic pastorelli plate. They're usually about as long and as round as a number 2 pencil. Once they're fused together, I can roll them up onto my blowpipe, and as a result, we get these long lines of color on our piece. The canes that we're using today are called veiled canes, so they have a center of white with different transparent colors laid on top. Today we're using purple, green, and a color called Lagoon. And just so that you guys can understand the process a little bit more, here are some clips of us pulling cane from the other day. This is what's known as bar color. It's a long bar of solid glass that comes in many different colors. This one is called lapis blue. So basically, we'll take a sizable chunk, cut off of it, and then we'll preheat it to about 1,000 degrees. Once preheated, we can pick it up on a pipe. We'll do a small bit of shaping, and then we'll cover it in a layer of clear glass. After we have our layer of clear, we can set it up to pull across the room. So I'm going to stab it onto my post, give it a little pull, and then we're off. Yeah, it went well. I should have got it hotter. Alright, and it looks like this pull went really well. So now we're just going to have to cut it down to size. Whatever size you desire, I usually cut my canes to about 6 inches. So when we pull cane, I usually like to make a day out of it. So we'll usually repeat this process many times in many different colors. And once we have our links of cane, we can combine them to create different color patterns. I've been working with cane for the past few years and really trying to progress in this direction. I really enjoy working with it. Over the last little while, it's really become one of my favorite parts to use when I'm designing my work. So we'll then take our desired canes, we'll lay them out in a small rectangle like this, and then begin to fuse them together. I'll pass this to you. They're tacked, so they're pretty good. Let me size it. And I pushed them together a little bit, but not like a whole lot. Sweet, man. Looks great. All right, awesome. Make a little collar. Yes, sir. And now I'll begin to make my collar. So I'm going to take one of my blowpipes, and I'll gather a small bit of glass out of the furnace. What you'll see me do here in a moment is when I come out, I'll hold it slightly vertical so that the glass falls back onto the tip of my pipe, and then I'll blow a bubble out of the end. And there's that small bubble, so now I'll actually stick it back into the furnace and blow through it so that I have a straight shot, so I have a small ring of glass on the end of my pipe. And now while that glass is nice and hot, I have a small amount of time to size it up so that it's the right size so that I can roll those canes up into a perfect circle around it. Alright, I think we're like right there. How you feeling? Sweet, and we'll do it when you come back out. So we've got all of our temperatures in the right spot. The canes are preheated, my collar is very hot, and now all I have to do is roll it up onto the pipe. Did you give it a little lift? Sweet man. Perfectamundo. That was awesome.
Pretty much had that like on the money.
Went great, right? Yeah. I'm happy about it. Thank you, Corey. That was great. Surprised surprised the plate's still doing all right. So the roll-up went great. Looks like we had almost a perfect connection. So now I'm going to inspect it a little bit and try to make sure that there aren't any gaps in our canes. You know, it's crazy, man. It's like I keep saying, a year ago, this would have been on the ground broken. You know what I mean? I would have messed it up.
I'd like to figure out within my schedule, like, how to do all the things.
Okay. And I'll come back. I'll come back.
I think that will do.
Yeah, I definitely need to compress. And now we're going to start to set up to do our color design, like I said before, which is called a Wig Wag. This is my first time trying this. Essentially what we're going to do is I've made a little handle right here, a small little constriction on the end of the canes, and I'll use a hot torch to heat up a certain ring, and we'll pull the lines back and forth so that the colors kind of wig and wag back and forth. That's where that term comes from. And this is my first time trying Wig Wag, so obviously there's going to be things to improve on, but I had a bunch of fun putting this together, and I think it came out really cool in the end.
And some other like newer hats and like Billy strings.
Totally. You're big Billy strings.
Yeah. Dude, if you get a chance to go see this.
I want to see if I can get a little bit more slack on this, if like the line just feels tight. Thank you, thank you. All good, all good. And now that we have a little bend on that first ring, I'll start to slowly work my way down the canes, twisting the different colors back and forth. Yeah, maybe I should have gathered on it. Bing, 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 bing. Wasted, but we always. Matt, you want to take this? Thank you. And we're in annealer 2. Just gonna throw it in there. So many years we tried to keep the love alive. You don't care, I know. Ventura Highway in the sunshine.
Wishing on a fallen star. Okay, that's a little bit of a wig wag. Yeah. That ain't bad. That's us. No, totally. I'll say something.
Alright, so now we're all done with our color design. The canes have wigged and wagged back and forth, kind of how I wanted them to, and now we're just going to start to compress because it's gotten a little bit long on me, and we'll get ready to add another layer of clear glass on top.
Some light air. Blow a little harder. And off. Thank you. I think it came out pretty good. Hey.
Now we need to prepare to go get that new layer of clear glass, like I said before, so I'm going to let this cool down quite a bit. As it cools down, you can really start to see the colors. You know, everything looks orange at 2,000 degrees, but once it cools down, you can really see the purples, the blues, and the greens.
All right, let's do it.
And now we're ready to do our gather. So I'm going to stick my pipe into the furnace, do some small rotations, and get a new layer of clear glass out. Just some information about the furnace. This is a 700-pound furnace, so inside of here, it's on at 2,000 degrees. It stays on 24/7, and we never turn it off. Really, unless we have to repair it or, you know, it needs to be turned off for a hurricane, which sometimes we get in Florida, things like that. But this furnace hasn't been turned off for the last 5 years since it was built. So now I have that hot layer of 2,000 degree glass on the outside of my cold kind of core. Remember, we cooled it down before I stuck it back into the furnace. So I'm going to have to use some tools to cool down that outside layer while we let the inside heat back up. The goal in the end is that we want to let these two layers of temperature kind of even out so that whenever we inflate it, it'll expand evenly.
Can you grab me a 10 block? No rush. Thank you, sir.
So this tool is what's known as a block. It's made out of cherry wood and it lives its entire life in water. It's really good at cooling down the outside layer and shaping it up for expansion.
All right, awesome. Looks great, y'all. I'm gonna hit the marber after I heat. We can ride the boogie.
Now this table you're about to see me roll on is known as the marbering table. It's a thick sheet of metal that we can use to cool down the glass as well as shape it.
Just thinking about what you were saying about the marber. And I'll blow a little bit. Bam, 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 bam. Don't know that love survives.
Now the piece we're making today is called an amphora, so it's going to have a slightly tapered body with a small neck. So I'm going to use my jacks to pull away from my pipe and create the small neck that I want in the end. My assistant Corey is also inflating the piece slightly, and I'm telling him to blow more or less depending on what I need.
All right, off. Thank you. And I'll do that one more time.
And now that we have our length, I'm going to begin to put in what's known as the jack line. So as I said before, the tool in my hand is called the jacks. It's kind of known as like a giant pair of tweezers. And essentially what I'm doing right now with this little incision point is I'm deciding where I want the piece to break off of the pipe eventually. We're going to have to transfer this to a different pipe before we can actually finish the piece. So I'm deciding where I want it to break. I'm making a small incision so that once I tap the pipe, it'll be thin and cold there and it'll want to break. So now we're going to start to inflate the piece. So I'm going to use my newspaper tool. This is about 12 sheets of newspaper folded up and soaked in water, and I'll tell Corey to blow. What'll essentially happen is I'm cooling down the tip where I'm touching the glass with the paper, and the areas that are hot but that I'm not touching are going to start to expand. The glass always wants to take the path of least resistance, so we use cooling and heating up to make the bubble move in different ways.
I keep thinking this is the Men in Black song. Like they get the
royalties or something.
Oh yeah. All right, Corey, give me some air. On. All right, off. And I'll just take some air. All right, you can blow hard. All right, off. We'll do that again in a moment. I hate to be a pain, but would you mind getting me the fluffy torch? Thank you very much. What did you say?
I was just asking if you could reach it.
Totally, no, this is perfect. Just trying to puff the shoulder up more, you know? But I'm losing, actually, I'm not even gonna worry about that. Okay, here. I'll take some air. And you can just go ahead and blow hard. All right, off. Thank you.
And now it's time for us to start to put the bottom on the piece. So Corey has a wooden paddle, and he's going to start to kind of force the bottom in as I inflate it with my breath. You can see I have a small hose that's connected to the tip of my pipe, so I can blow while I'm seated at the bench. This is called a blow hose there. It's a very commonly used tool in the glass studio.
Okay. I've been waiting such a long time.
Blow harder.
Sweet.
Alright, so now we have the bottom half situated exactly how we want it to be situated, and it's time to get ready for our transfer. So Corey's going to take a small bit of glass on a solid pipe and shape it up into what we call a punty. He'll then bring that over to me, and we'll stab it onto the bottom. I'm going to try to stab it right in the middle if I can.
Okay. I think we're pretty good.
So now we're all connected, and we'll put some water on the space we want it to break, and we'll give it a little tap, and we'll break it off.
Woo!
Nice.
Doing great. Sweet. And I'll steal it from you. I got the pipe. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now that punty, that small piece of glass that Corey got out of the furnace, is fresh glass. It's 2,000 degrees, or at least it was just a little while ago. So it's the hottest part of my piece right now. So I have a small amount of time to make sure that the bottom is flat and that we're perfectly symmetrical. So I'm doing some small adjustments to make sure that we're on center. And now I'm going to use what we call a fluffy torch to start to heat up the area that we just broke. So that glass was cold enough to break, so it was around 900 degrees, and now I need to bring it back up to molten, so it takes a little bit of extra heating. And now we're going to do what we call trimming. So I'm going to slowly start to pull this neck longer and longer so that it thins out the glass so that we have a nice thin lip on our piece. This also allows me to get rid of any chunky or unwanted glass, maybe tool marks that are left over from the transfer. This method is called a jack and crack, so you'll see me make another little line with my jacks here in just a moment, and then we'll tap that little piece on the end and it'll fall right off when it's cold enough. Alright, so now we're nice and hot again, and I'm going to use my jacks to start to manipulate the neck into the shape that I want it to be.
And
So this tool you're about to see me use is called the Soffietta. It's really good at shaping the glass from the inside. So we put the tip on the neck, and then we blow, and it inflates the piece.
Isn't that the way they say it goes? Let's forget all about.
1 second. You can go on.
Let me take it well.
Okay. We'll do that again. Yep, go on. Right, and off. Yes! Oh my god, yes. That was awesome. Alright, so one last little paddle and then we'll get it ready for the break off. Okay, this is exactly what I was looking to do. I like that mid-size. It's nice. The lips better. Okay, and off. Okay, that's it, y'all.
And with that last little move, I think we're all done with the piece. So now, the only thing we have left to do is disconnect it from the pipe. So Corey's ready. He's got his Kevlar gloves on, as well as a welding jacket and a face shield. And I'm going to put some small drops of water on our connection point. I'm going to try to get as close to the piece as I can without actually touching it with the water. And once we're set up with that and it's cooled down, I can tap the pipe and we'll break it off into Corey's Kevlar mitts. So once it's broken off of the pipe and into his mittens, I'll use a small MAP gas torch to get rid of any of the sharp spots that are on the bottom from the disconnection. And then it's a little bit of a mad dash to try to get to the annealer as quick as we can. Glass has to cool for quite a while before we can actually hold it. So we're going to put it in the annealing oven. This oven is on at 900 degrees on the inside. And then once we fill it up with glass art, we can turn it off at the end of the day and we'll be able to come back tomorrow and see our piece.
Thank you. That was awesome. That was awesome.
And here's the final result. I'm really happy with how this came out. You know, like I said before, this is my first time trying Wig Wag, and it went a little bit sideways. You know, there are obviously things that I could have improved on. And you know, like I said, it's a first time, so no biggie. I really enjoyed making the piece. I love the color. I love the distortion of light with the different waves and stuff. It came out great. I couldn't be happier with a first try like this. So guys, make sure you like the video, comment down below, share this with somebody who you think might like this video, and let me know what you think. You know, I appreciate all of your opinions, and especially you people who make it to the end of the video. You guys are the best. So stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.